Welcome to this second session of second theme of GS1, which is like geography. And here we have allocated two sessions for it. So, first would be of the physical geography aspect. So, what is the case that from geography every year, 6 to 7 questions appear, and that number goes at as high as 8. And in that also, 4 questions generally are from geography, physical geography, and 4 are from human geography. And what I have realized that the syllabus itself is very vague. I'll discuss about it in a while, but the questions are quite doable, answerable, and they have very high scoring potential. I have scored like last year I have scored 109 marks in GS1, where highest was like I think 110, and then before that I also scored 105. I have realized that if you have to score excellent mark in GS1, you need to have good command over geography, and you need to write them very well. Like none of the candidates would be able to write the questions as good as you would be writing. If your answer is in like top 1% of all the candidates, top 1 percentile of all the candidates in geography aspect, you will score very good marks. Second aspect is this area is where you have great differentiability. Like in history aspect, I try to give you as many pointers as I can to create that differentiability aspect, whether it would be by the presentation, by detailing, by additional content, or by the way of argumentation that we would be having. We try to do it, but here the picture is very clear. I mean, if let's say they ask about something and it is a bit of scientific, then there is a good chance that half of the candidates won't be able to draw a diagram for it, or they will miss out on the locational aspects, or they will miss out on what the application aspect of the said physical aspect is with respect to the human geography wala part. So in entire of in these 3 4 pillars, we can actually have differentiability wala aspect drawn, and this differentiability itself what drives us towards scoring of very high marks. And when I talk particularly about the topics of the geography, particularly the physical geography, which we will be covering in this today wala session, and the human aspect will be covered in the next session. As I felt both are important, so I have tried to have the segregation for you to also enable in better note making and better content coverage. Physical geography particularly is comparatively scientific area. When I mean scientific, there are established explanations, there are established facts, the theories are there, and we need to, and they also ask along the same line. So we need to focus on those explanations, how we are able to comprehend, how we are able to explain, how we are able to write crisply those scientific explanations in the answers. Also, since the scientific area and explanations are there, the greater focus is laid on how you understand the phenomenon. So there will be like n number of phenomenon, particularly the given in the syllabus are of cyclones, the tsunamis. Last year the question was on tsunamis. Then before that there was question on cyclones, and then there would be question on cloud bursts, avalanches. There will be even the applied phenomena like the desertification, the Atlantic Meridional Overturning Circulation, AMOC, that is. So these kind of phenomenon, you need to have understanding of it. And when I mean understanding, you should be able to build linkages within the various processes which are taking place between various elements. So to start with, entire geography revolves around the fact that there is a lithosphere, there is a uh, hydrosphere, there is a oceanosphere, there is a biosphere, and then there is a anthroposphere. We call this as a pyramid of geography. So any point, any phenomenon, these elements you need to interlink with. And when we talk about lithosphere, we would always be talking about what kind of rocks were there, what kind of plates were there, what kind of processes were occurring there. Then there would be slopes, there would be the topographies, drainage. Similarly, in the oceanography aspect, there will be the salt budget, there will be the heat budget, there will be ocean currents, there will be the biotic resources. Similarly, in the hydrosphere, you would have the water, and then the atmosphere, you would have uh, the uh, temperature, the pressure, the air masses, etc., etc. So, and how humans are impacting all three of them together. So the lithosphere, the atmosphere, the hydrosphere, and the biosphere. So if you are able to have these elements in your mind and develop the interlinkages, phenomenal understanding becomes quite easy, and you would be able to have a certain framework in mind to write any answer or any discussion along the lines. And also, they are not limited to the phenomenon, understanding of the phenomenon. They extend this part to the where they are asking you about the application of phenomenon. So how this phenomenon is actually witnessed, evidenced. There was this question in 2022, I think, on the tropical climate and the rubber plantation, or the tropical rainforest and the rubber plantation. Similarly, there was this question on estuaries and sorry, the straits and their importance, or how these Purvaiya plays role in the socio-economic culture of the northern India. Similarly, there was applied question whereby the plate tectonic was linked to mantle plume. Everyone was said. Similarly, there was question on fjords. So these all are questions. If you know a bit of phenomenon, if you know what kind of theories, what kind of processes are happening, even if you don't know exactly what is happening, but you would be able to write something around the line which would get you marks better than rest of the others. And while since it is a scientific topic, and since they demand phenomenon understanding and explanations, there should be direct linkages with the diagrams that you draw. There should be direct linkages with the locational analysis. What I mean by locational analysis, so geography is a study of phenomenon when they are arranged in space. So if, let's say, what kind of phenomenon happen in case of, let's say, the coastal regions, the mountains, or the other setting would be the tropical forest or the temperate forest, or the other setting would be hydrosphere, lithosphere. I hope you got the point. So this location, when you are talking a phenomenon with respect to space and highlighting the presence of space with respect to the understanding of phenomenon, you automatically have the locational analysis, and examiner would definitely know that you are someone who actually knows the grasp of the what geography constitutes of. And third would be, of course, drawing of maps. So diagrams and maps are actually interlinked, but they are not. They form a trinity. So you need to have diagrams which actually supplement and highlight the locational analysis, and these two together constitute the maps for different phenomena. And when explanations are there, there are certain established explanations which are often known as theories. Many of the candidates and many of the copies which I have seen, even if you like ask them to say what is plate tectonics, they won't be able to write it crisply in a manner. What is plate tectonic theory? Same goes with how do actually ocean currents form. So how do actually ocean currents form? If you are not able to write that in crisply in 50 words, 100 words, then it will become very difficult for you to write an answer about where they link coastal currents with the impact on the coastal communities, because you need to know what lies in there. Similarly, if you know like what is plate tectonics, you will definitely be able to handle any question on the mountain building, on the hot spots, on the mantle plumes, on the trenches, and similar other topics. So focus should be on highlighting what actually theory is. So what, to give you an exhibit, what is plate tectonics? Plate tectonics is a theory which talks about interaction of plates which are lithospheric aggregates, very crudely and very crisply. And then you can like explain it to how lithospheric plates are of two types. There are oceanic, then there are the continental, and then talk about interactions, how there are convergent, divergent, transform, then give examples, which is locational analysis, and so on. So you are good to go then from there. They may ask you anything, and everything, since you know what lies beneath it, you will be able to do justification, justify the what the demand lies. And like I have told earlier, I mean, this challenge lies across the syllabus, but particularly in geography, since it is a high scoring area and we need to like prepare for it a bit, the vagueness of syllabus becomes an issue where they give such headings that salient features of world's physical geography. So what should we make out of it? It itself becomes a very big challenge. It can include anything. Anything means anything. Last year they asked about the phenomenon of aurora borealis and aurora australis. Good. So that is actually a feature of world's physical geography. Similarly, there is another part in the second aspect, which is important geophysical phenomenon. They do give a bit of list about that, like earthquakes, volcanoes, tsunamis. But if you go through the PYQs and have a look at the Pareto optimized sheet, you would see that they are not limited to those phenomena. And even if they are limiting those their questions to those phenomena, they are asking random questions like color coding of cyclones. So color coding of cyclones becomes a very tricky question to write, even if like you have prepared diagram explanations, impact, mitigation strategies from disaster perspective, from geographical perspective, everything. Similarly, naming of cyclones. So such questions, writing such questions is a bit tricky, and that actually creates certain hindrances. And many of the candidates with whom I have worked with, they have always felt that geography is one area where they don't seem to find an end to syllabus. Our intention, or particularly my intention, is to like have a certain set of topics, certain set of ideas with you, and you should be able to use those ideas in answering the other relevant and uh, the interactive questions that arrive from it. So like I've told, focus would be on understanding few concepts and applying them. And understand that the random questions will be there. They will come there every year. They would be sort of, but try and develop interlinkages between certain areas, certain topics, so that you can actually justify them in such a manner that they look more scientific, more particularistic. And also, if we add maps and locational analysis and diagrams with them, no, so they automatically become very geographically relevant. Moving on to the topics, the first topic set of topics would be of the theories that they ask, or the theories that you should know. And of course, to begin with the geomorphologic aspect, the how they did ask continental drift in 2013, and in last year also there was this question on this plate tectonic aspect. I feel this question was, and we also actually predicted it also, and I feel this question can has again high potentiality of coming in this year also, but in some different form, whereby they may link continental drift with the seafloor spreading as a background to the plate tectonic. If you can prepare this question well, you will be preparing three theories together in a very crisp manner, and you can utilize this answer in any of the theory wala question. I hope like you are able to gauge where I'm coming from. Since the plate tectonics itself began challenge the permanency of the continents and how the current map of the world evolved, and seafloor spreading built on the explanations which continental drift theory lagged on, and these two together with the Arthur Holmes theory of convectional magma currents, uh, that actually laid down the foundation of plate tectonics. And then plate tectonics can actually explain any phenomenon which is driven by the endogenetic forces. So if we prepare this thing, we have excellently positioned ourselves to write any questions which will be coming in next part about the volcanoes, about the earthquakes, and etc. Directly linked to the plate tectonics and the endogenetic forces is the orogeny, which is mountain building. So question on mountain building is due since 2015. They may ask like how do fold mountains originate, which is like actually the direct inspiration from the question from the how do deserts emerge, or rather there was this question on why the deserts are found only on the western coast. So they may ask about that, why there is a uh, east-west orientation or north-south orientation for certain fold mountains and east-west orientation for certain fold mountains. I hope like the answer lies in this plate tectonics. So, what are mountain building theories? What are types of mountains and how they are formed based on the plate tectonics is a probable and a very possible question. In addition to that, the drainage formations has not been asked in recent times, but it is a very due area. They did ask about delta formations a while back, but this drainage formation wala aspect is a very common theme when we talk about geomorphology wala aspect in the optional. And since I have observed that the optional questions do come after like 3-4 years in GS when they do get normalized. Why I am saying this? The cryosphere wala question, the field wala question, they all were in the optional from in the optional paper. So if we can draw a bit of inspiration from that segment and prepare a bit of topic on them, we, we would be in a position where people would be struggling on certain set of questions and we would be like answering them, excelling in them with our pre-prepared understanding and motion. In addition to that, like the comparison of east versus west drainage, same is with the peninsular and the Himalayan aspect.
निखिल निखिल
Yes.
वॉइस वॉइस का देखने के बाद माइक कनेक्ट करना है कुछ.
Hello, am I not audible?
हाँ, अब हो गया ठीक है, बीच में खराब हुआ था.
Till when I was like
हाँ, बस ठीक है,
clear.
इतना तो समझ आ रहा था.
Okay, fine. So where was I? So I was talking about the drainage formation and drainage aspects. So characteristics of peninsular drainage versus Himalayan drainage, and what is their regime, how is their flow, and the direct question would be like, why do floods often occur in the northern plains, but they are not as much frequent as they are in the north as in peninsula. This question is actually lies in the characteristics of how the drainage is presented. Similarly, they have already asked about the why don't like the peninsular rivers from much of a larger deltas, or why the west flowing rivers do not form larger deltas. So this question also can be categorized, understood in terms of the drainage formation analysis. And this year also, this is a very probable area, and they may even ask, in addition to this, the small west flowing rivers of the Western Ghats.
प्रीलिम्स में
what
तो
is
पूछ ही
their-
रहे हैं.
Hello?
प्रीलिम्स में तो पूछ ही रहे हैं ना ये
Yes,
वेस्ट.
exactly. So that is the inspiration. Since we have seen that the same question is being asked in the history वाला में भी हमने देखा कि prelims वाले question से inspiration लेके वो mains वाला question बनाते हैं. So this is the like basic premise behind it. Also, another thing which people candidate do often miss out on, and I feel is very probable again from the inspiration that they are picking questions from the optional paper and then asking in the geography. Two things I would want to ask. First is the geomagnetism. Since last year they asked about aurora borealis and aurora australis, they are directly linked with the geomagnetism. So what does UPSC do is UPSC asks the same funda, same concept, but in different container, different flavor. So if you, rather than repeating this wala aspect, they may ask about geomagnetism. Prepare it, see what the phenomenon is and how relevant it is. So this relevant wala part is very central, very crucial. Their role in like the protection of the solar storms, the solar flares, and then their role in electromagnetic spectrum and the interaction with the communication systems that we have, etc. Also, the next thing is the isostasy. So isostasy talks about the stability of various topographic features on top of the surface of the earth. So why do like the surface of the earth there would be 840 8,400-meter high Mount Everest, and then there would be like 10,000-meter deep trenches. So how lithospheric balances actually maintain this? So this is directly linked with the mountain building, and rather than using the word uh, the isostasy, they may ask about lithospheric balances. This comes very relevant considering the Joshimath land sinking that was happening. So when these balances get disturbed, we have phenomena of sinking of lands, and then there can be the earthquakes, and then which may trigger the tsunamis or landslides. So even if like they don't ask you this question directly, try and incorporate such scientific concepts in your answer to enrich your answer and differentiate your answer.
Yes, in linkage to this, I'll add एक तो ये कि when there is some news है ना, and the question comes on the news part, then it is must that we must throw some one or two liners of theoretical aspect of that. Just like Nikhil is saying, throw the words isostasy when you are writing the answer on Joshimath. Similarly, when there is a question, some question on this cyclonic or the twister part, hai na, then throw some scientific explanation, throw some scientific words from the theoretical part. What we normally do is when the theoretical question comes, we start writing the news elements in the introduction. But opposite also we should do whenever there is a question on the news derived question, news inspired question, then we must write one or two liners about the theory. For example, this peninsular versus Himalayan rivers, Nikhil was saying, na, urban flooding. Whenever the question on urban flooding comes, then you can drop one liner that natural causes is that these are the Himalayan rivers and the topography is fragile. So it's a two-way process. When you are writing the news derived question, then throw some jargons, throw some theory, one two liner theory, or when you are writing the theory question, throw some one two liners of news. Then it becomes very organic, that you are thorough with the subject and you have the clear understanding what is exactly happening in the news.
Yes, of course. It shows that you are versatile. You are able to, like the beginning, what I have said, you need to have the theory understanding and you need to link it with the
Yes.
application. And I draw two-way arrow there. It is not a one-way process, but a two-way process whereby you are linking application with the theory and theory with the application.
And if you carefully observe also, na, generally in geography, I was also very confident. And the reason was this only. I was able to link the theory with the application part. For example, this mountain building you will study in the plate tectonic theory. Now, when I was reading this, now I was able to connect ki it is a north-south barrier, it is a southeast barrier, so the local weather condition will be is in such a way, or the local habitations will be in such a way. You are rewarded very good if you are able to link the applied part of the theory section. If you are able to derive some applications of that theory in the real life, then the examiner rewards you very well. That goes with the paper 2 of any optional, right? Because why do people do not get marks in paper 2 of any optional? Because paper 2 is applied in nature. We have to derive the real life applications of those theories. So similar case, if you are able to do in GS, you will get good marks.